Right, down to the last part of our conversation this morning. You're still watching Metropole Television. My name is Elijah Charles here again. All right, let's look at what therefore is happening or not happening within the real estate sector and the trends that we need to look forward to if indeed 2021 is going to be any better than a 2022. Let me open that conversation with Mr. Waregi Peter, the chairman of Kenya Professional Realtors Association. Let me begin with you on that point that we closed on, the buildings approval, especially if you look at the trend all the way to Q2 of 2021. Mr. Waregi, how do you make sense of that? Even as you get ready to respond to that as well, I know again, as an association, you have an award ceremony that is looking at how the players in the sector have conducted themselves in a 2021. What are you looking at that is going to be an opener to the things that need to happen, Mr. Waregi, for us to say that indeed the sector is heading in the right direction?
Thank you, Simba. First, let me invite all the attendees here to our annual dinner, which will be on this Thursday. I don't know that you are aware, on 16th, which is on Thursday, we'll have the Kenya Real Estate Awards. And the purpose of these awards is just to bring the players together in real estate, to have the kind of discussion and chat that we are doing right now. We are not going to succeed unless we work together.
Yes.
And one of the biggest challenge we've had in Kenya is we don't have a structured real estate sector in terms of licensing, legislation, and even in terms of performance. If you look at the marketplace in Rwanda, in South Africa, the industry is very well structured. The private sector work very well together. There are proper regulations to protect the consumer. In Kenya, the first thing I was told when I returned from US is let the buyer beware, cover them tour. So in Kenya, you buy at your own risk, Esther. So that is not the way to do business. I think we need some credibility in our industry. And what I suggest to the people on this platform is let's share together. Let's have this more dialogue, what needs to be done, and then we can grow. The things I expect to happen next year, one, more training. We need more training. We need more specialized labor. In construction, if you look at the construction marketplace right now, Esther, you'll find that a lot of people we have are just casuals. We don't have experts and engineers, and that's what we need. If we are going to develop the kind of new products that the consumer demands, also our level of productivity has to increase. Number two, arbitration. A lot of people go to court, neighbors and families suing each other. Some of these things can be sorted through arbitration. So I think KPRA and other private sector can offer assistance in that area. Secondly, in terms of getting power networking, we need to do more networking events so that we also listen to the consumer. And the last but not least, consumer advocacy. This idea of equal housing, which is adopted by most countries like US, UK, South Africa, and Rwanda, that equal housing talks into what your people here are saying. In terms of a housing is a need that everybody has. And therefore, we must work very hard to make sure people can afford houses, make sure there is accessibility, and make sure we have credibility in our industry. So the biggest challenge I see, Simba, is our industry is not credible. And as a matter of fact, you hear people say, I'm selling my house, but don't bring an agent or don't bring a broker. That is not the way to go, because we should be the ones serving the people in terms of in the marketplace. So we need a change in that area by working together, by providing training. One of the courses I'll be working on next year is corporate governance and leadership.
Yes.
A lot of even business leaders don't even understand what corporate governance is, and yet you cannot run a successful business if you don't have. Then last but not least, sustainability. We need to look at sustainability, going to the green, talking about energy, talking about technology. All those are key elements going to 2022. Even though it's an election year, I think we can still do some training, we can still do some planning, and we can also still be innovative.
Pretty much. All right, let me bring in a Juma this morning. Hopefully, we do have him up finally just to weigh in on this particular area of our conversation. Juma, we do know that Superior Homes is one of those companies that have been championing the live, work, play model of real estate. Juma, is that the trend for real estate? Is that what is selling? And especially as we go into 2022, do you expect that this particular segment is going to be the major selling point?
Simpa, I'll try to take you back where we are at the mortgage. I'll give a summary on that, then
Pretty
rental, then residential, and then maybe focus on 2022. I'll be able to give a summary on that. Let's start by mortgage. Mortgage is a viable project. It is a good idea for our customers. The only problem that it has not developed as we expect in the,
Yes.
in the industry.
Yes.
Because of several challenges. Most Kenyans prefer rental houses because most Kenyans is like they don't have extra source of income. They depend on the salary-oriented income, and in that case, like now, most of people are affected by the COVID. People lost their jobs. So, for perhaps you are in a mortgage business, and then you lose your job. You start fighting with the financial institution. You're fighting with the employer, and all these brought a lot of problems and issues. So how do we bring the job security? If I have to go for mortgage, if I have to go for mortgage, there should be a job security. Who take the responsibility if I lose my job? Because if I lose my job and the financial institutions are going to follow me up and down, I'm going to lose whatever I've invested. Most people shy away from going for mortgages. Number two, there's no kind of awareness on the customers oriented per se, because there's a lot of fears in the market. You know, there's ghost project, this real estate developers who goes take money, lies with the bank. At the end of the day, people lose everything. They call it ghost project. So that's also a broad fear in the market for people to invest in mortgages and all that. People prefer in the market, they go for a complete housing than going for mortgages. Number three, there's no proper policies between the government, the financial institutions, and even the stakeholders, because it's like everyone in the real estate industry want to initiate his own policies. There's even an assay in the industry where they say that double pay. There's hidden charges that you are not clear when you are giving the financial plan how to finance the mortgages and how to finance the mortgages. There's what you call hidden charges. Those hidden charges, you end up paying double. And such scenarios, people not are willing to invest in mortgages. So
Yes.
those things must be addressed. The issues of taxation, the issues of the policies within the financial institution, within the stakeholders, so that we can be able to bring the project to the people when there's clarity and the awareness has been created. Now, we talk of when we talk of residential, I will not be able to say. I would say that residential will still be able to give us some money. People will still be able to invest in residential because one of my colleagues said that housing is a basic need. People want to have good houses. People want to take care of their families in affordable houses and all that. So residential, we need to invest in residential. The only thing we need to do is to open up. When we're doing our plan, we bring the customers on board and are able to get what they need so that we can be able to provide quality services to them, quality affordable housings to them. We can be able to satisfy their need in the market. Now, look at 2022. When we're moving 2022, you know, we've been from the COVID-19, 2021, 2020. As we're moving to 2022, what we need to focus on satisfaction of the need of our customers. What do they want? And the quality service to our customers. What do they want? We can be able to provide quality housings to them.
Yes.
If it's land, if it's housing, all those services need to provide it to our customers. But again, the most important thing is we need to listen to them. What do they want? So that in our plan, we can be able to cooperate the customers almost 50-50%. Because, you know, we are in a tricky situation. We're in a tricky that the finance is a problem. The economy is not on our side, does not favor us, both the real estate developers and both our customers. So we need to listen to what our customers need. We need to come out with the policies in the real estate industry that favor our customers, not only favor us, but at least people can strike a deal on a 50-60, 40-60, or 50-50, that customers may feel that we are also equal partners in the real estate industry.
Yes.
Having said that, and develop strategical plan with the customers incorporated, then we'll be able to move to the next level and
Pretty
achieve
much.
the objectives
Juma,
that we need to achieve in the real estate industry.
Pretty much. Juma, quickly, I want you to take a minute and comment on the live, work, play model that Superior Homes is championing. Is that where the real estate sector is headed in terms of the residential market?
Can you pardon? I cannot get your question.
Can you get me now, Juma?
Can you pardon your question?
The live, work, play model where your customers are getting everything in the same setup, is that where the real estate sector is headed? Because we know Superior Homes is also championing that model.
Of course, that's what we need. That's where we need to go to, because we are from a tricky situation. Look at 2021. Look at 2022, 2020, 2021, and now we are moving to 2022. If we don't bring our customers on board and we don't develop customers-oriented principles and techniques, I don't think we'll be able to achieve much in the real estate industry. We must work with our customers. We must work as a team with our customers and cooperate them in our plan. That will be fundamental.
Pretty much. All right, let me cross over to Esther this morning as well. Esther, you spoke about tech and technology in general, especially when it comes to doing business in the real estate sector. And 2021, 2022 is coming as well. And since millennials are seen as the people who are going to be the new customers, especially about talking about this property market, Esther, what point of technology are we talking about here?
Thank you, Simba, for that question. I'm looking at technology on an end-to-end perspective.
Yes.
If I could maybe just start it from what the Ministry of Housing is doing, the digitizing of the lands registry.
Yes.
That's the beginning point, because then that makes it so much easier for people to transact, to confirm the legality of the parcels of land that they are acquiring, and it makes the process of acquisition so much easier. Remember, the millennials right now, they're not the very patient kind. So they need things that work out in their favor and things that work out fast enough.
Yes.
So that's on one end when we are looking at the Ministry of Land. Then come to this other end where we are talking about the developers and we are talking about the estate agents who then help the buyers to find the properties. They have to adopt technology. Technology in the sense that, one, as you're looking at constructing houses, it's no longer about stone and mortar. You must think about internet connectivity. Internet connectivity has become now a basic need. When you talk about basic needs, internet connectivity is one of the basic needs. And a developer cannot overlook that and assume that because they've done a very beautiful project externally, they can get away without providing a technology backbone that then enables people to work from home, to live, work, play from their own, the comfort of their houses. While at that, it shouldn't just be the issue of just internet connectivity, but right now we are witnessing developers who are coming up with smart homes. It goes beyond just the issue of accessing internet to the issue of smart locking, smart starting of your windows, opening of your windows and closing them, the music, the kind of lighting in the house. It's all now digitized in a way that then makes the millennial feel like they are living a different life than what their grandfathers lived, which is where they're actually heading.
Yes.
Then come to the estate agent side. The estate agents are also having to adopt technology. Why? Reaching to the masses without technology is proving impossible. Everybody right now is on this gadget. If they are not on this gadget, then they are on their laptops. If they're not on their laptops, then they're on their iPads or their desktops. Even 15-year-olds, 13-year-olds, So the easiest way to reach people right now is through the internet. The social media has become the most popular form of media. Print media is no longer working for us as agents, and maybe Wairegi can weigh in on that, because print media is no longer as exciting. When you talk about the electronic media, it's still very important to us. And Metropole TV, we can watch you on TV, or we can still watch you on the gadget. So at the end of the day, we can't ignore technology as far as our marketing activities are concerned. We are looking at how do I make it possible for Simba to view a house that is in Kisumu, which he wants to buy, without making him move from the comfort of his seat in Metropole TV. So as agents, we are having to think outside the box. How do I get maximum number of site visits from the comfort of my client's home and close as many sales as possible when these people are looking for these properties from the comfort of their home? Wairegi has talked about communication. Again, back to social media, back to the digital age, back to e-commerce. This is the one platform that we need to make sure we utilize for purposes of communication. When we talk about affordable housing and the fact that we don't have much information as we would want to have about KMRC, about affordable housing, about what the government is doing on social housing and making it possible for people to afford units, then the government must adopt technology as far as communication is concerned to help people invest from an informed position. While still talking about technology, Wairegi also mentioned something that I think is key. Moving forward, we need to see a lot more of interactions between estate agents, and not just estate agents, but industry players. And I like what the estate agents regulatory body is doing right now, because in the past we've known them as a toothless dog that could not bite. But right now they are coming strongly to put a policy framework in place on how the industry will be governed. Then we will have professionalism in place. And among the things, the initiatives they have is having a portal where all estate agents can post their listings. And we have people having a place where they can trust the listings that they come across. Many people are getting conned out there because the internet is free for everybody. So anybody can wake up and say, I'm selling ABCD. But if EARB and KPRA and many other players in the industry who are bringing together estate agents can come together and give us a platform, a digital platform where estate agents meet, reputable and pre-qualified estate agents can meet and have the properties out there to help the public have some sort of comfort even as they search for these properties. Because right now, even while they'll search for them online, there's that element of, what if I'm being conned? What is the sanctity of this title that I'm about to buy? What is the, how genuine is this developer? How sure am I that this developer will finish this property that is being sold off plan? But then if ERB can come in strongly and KPRA, together with all these other bodies that are regulating our industry, then we expect to see better activity, because there'll be more trust in the industry, there'll be transparency in the industry, information will freely flow in the industry. And when that happens, then you expect the industry to perform so much better than what we've seen in the past.
Pretty much. All right, let me bring in Gabriel then. Gabriel, your views on exactly where we've been, and I'd like us to go back to that data that again I showed you earlier on exactly where we were in terms of the growth of the real estate sector. And I want us to start from real estate GDP growth rates on exactly where we were in Q4 of 2020. We were around 3%, Gabriel. And now let's look at credit growth to the real estate sector as well. And the interesting data point this morning is that in 2021, all the way to September again, and you can actually start from January to September, then credit growth to the real estate sector in terms of percentage, it dropped from a high of 8% down to around 2% again in September of 2021. Gabriel, that particular data set there on even the growth of the credit to the real estate sector, how do you make sense of that again? Do we expect to see that again in a 2022? Because we do know we are getting into the general election year where generally we tend to say, hold on, let's get out of it.
So definitely, as I said, it's a sector you cannot ignore. So we expect that number to go back up.
Yes.
I think it was a decision made by the financial institutions.
Yes.
Because of the challenges, say in repayments that were faced or the restructurings that were made.
Okay.
So that had a short-term implication in what was driving that number. So one, remember, so if you take away, let's say, new developments that are being undertaken and you only retain what was there previously, so then that growth number, of course, declines significantly. So if there's no, say, more borrowing or developments have slowed down, and people are just transacting among themselves or concluding whatever transactions were pending, then that is why you might see that number low as it is. But I think if you look at as a percentage of the total debt to the real estate sector in the banking financials,
yes,
it still sort of remained at par where it was, if not increased. It's maintained its percentage as a percentage of the entire balance sheet of the banks. So it's the growth, yes, definitely that was going to be affected as people were taking a wait and see approach to see which subsector was actually doing well. But going forward, I expect more normalcy and more credit to come towards this sector.
Pretty much. Effie, I also want you to jump in on that particular one as well. From what you said, I mean, when you look at even the amount or the value of building plans that have been approved in 2021, all the way up to Q2, they were dropping. When you look at the sector contribution to the government's, to the economy's GDP, it was dropping. And now that credit growth in the sector as well, Effie, dropping at a time when all the other indicators as well were dropping. Do you share the same sentiment with Gabriel, that this is bound to correct because there's a sector that you cannot generally avoid? But then Effie, if it's bound to correct, if we've been correcting since 2018 all the way to where we are in 2021, 2022 is coming, how do you make sense of that, and when do you expect that the correction is going to end then?
I will mention the real estate sector, especially in during the onset of the pandemic, that
yes,
is 2020 and 2021, was leading in terms of the non-performing loans. And what does this communicate for the creditors, the financial institutions? That I wouldn't want to risk my funds in a sector where I will witness a lot of non-performing loans. And this is why you realize the credit risk in real estate sector is a bit high.
yes,
People fear sending out money or lending out money for the real estate sector. But I would just say this just happened in 2020 and 2021. We also expect it in 2022. Ideally, this is brought about by the tough economic times. A lot of conversions are not happening. You have a property you have developed, probably you bought it on loan, but you cannot convert that property into cash so that you can refund the money to the person who paid you the initial sum. For example, I purchased my property on loan, and then I'll need to pay back the bank. I bought or developed the property with the idea in mind that after I have completed the development, I'll pay back my loan and also get my profits. However, we've realized people are not buying into real estate currently because of the tough economic times. So it brings out the issue of being centered towards the customer. You have to ensure that you also understand who the customer is for you to convert your real estate and for you to be able to get that finance that you need to pay back any real estate project. So you'll have to ensure that you adjust the needs of the customers so that they're also in a position where they can get convinced that there's still value for real estate even during these tough times. And I will just say, for any investment, buying it at a point where the prices are discounted or low is better, as opposed to buying it when it's flourishing, because by the time it will be flourishing, you will also be gaining from the returns in that project. Assuming currently I get my finances as discounted, it will be better for me, as opposed to when I'll be selling it and there's already market to purchase the property. So with regards to credit, I'll just say it's an issue that is likely to continue up to just 2022 if the environment will favor the real estate sector. But past that, I'm seeing a sector where we'll have more access to credit.
Yes.
We'll see growth in real estate sector. We'll see a lot of people purchasing real estate developments, and a better performance of the sector in general.
Pretty much. Let's then back on at the end of our conversation this morning. And Mr. Wawegi Peter, I would like you to come in on this as well. The affordable housing agenda, which was touted as one of the game changers in that particular sector. In fact, when the government announced that there was that pillar, we said game changer. Quickly, Mr. Wawegi, I will just pick quick sentiments on that as well. Have we felt the effects of the government's push for that particular Big Four agenda, the affordable housing agenda, in any way, Mr. Wawegi?
Yes, we have. We may not have achieved the targets that they had put together initially,
yes,
of 500,000, 2,500 units need. But it has been felt, because there was some funding. There is also the introduction of KMRC, which was brought in place to help subsidize this affordable housing initiative. So the government has done some steps. They have taken some steps to focus and highlight this as a key, economic agenda.
Yes,
that was a big plus for the industry. Now, in terms of the delivery, going forward, Simba, I think the private sector is already starting to pick the ball, and there's a lot of affordable housing initiatives outside the government that are happening.
Yes.
But to come back to the role of government is to create access and this affordability issue in terms of lower financing interest rate, better financing terms, having long-term investors, creating a conducive environment for international investors to come here, and also creating a secondary market in the marketplace. Conventional financing that we have right now is not sufficient. So we need a secondary market arm to subsidize, so that we have more funds available for this affordable housing. And then, of course, changes of schemes in terms of the type of housing they are putting focus on. And last but not least, reducing the cost of land. And if that happens, then this issue of affordable housing will make some more gains. But it's a big plus, Simba, when the government actually isolated this as a key agenda in the economy.
Yes.
What we need to do now is do more to help working through the private sector to help the government achieve this, because it's the Kenyan dream. I don't want to say the American dream, but the Kenyan dream of affordability is for each person to own a place to stay. As your other speakers have said, housing is a basic need. Therefore, the demand is continue even to grow more. Therefore, the supply also need to increase to cover that demand.
Pretty much. All right,
Yes.
Let me cross over to Esther. Esther, some people have said, no, it is a total fail. We haven't got the effect. The government has actually failed to deliver on that. And as Esther, the data is there to either say whether we are indeed going to correct this or not. We do know that annually it's a 200,000 unit deficit accumulated, 2 million plus. And then they came with the affordable housing agenda. Esther, when you are in that particular sector, have you felt that indeed something somehow is changing because of the affordable housing pillar?
Yes, there is. Of course, the market is worked on by the effect of supply versus demand. And for as long as the government is supplying units at affordable prices, of course, it will have an effect on the industry, because then that provides more options for the purchasers as far as options for them to buy are concerned. And as Wanawiregi has mentioned, we have even private sector players who are coming into play and coming up with affordable units, thanks to the government having started on their government affordable housing program.
Yes.
Because without that, then we would probably have gotten stuck to where we were in 2007, 2008, all the way to 2012, where the developers were only concerned about maximizing profit and targeting the middle income towards the high income bracket. So yes, there has been an effect that has been felt, but mostly towards this market that is still not accessible for many Kenyans. So beyond affordable housing, probably Kenya needs to also, the government also needs to think towards social housing so that we balance that effect. 50,000 units per year is not adequate to compared to the demand that we have of 250,000 units. But we must give it up for the government. They have tried, they have started, and that has spurred the private sector. We have major institutional players like International Housing Solutions, like County Pension Fund, and many other pension schemes that are coming into the market to do affordable housing units in line with the Big Four agenda. So we can't ignore the impact. It may not have been felt significantly yet, but it has definitely been felt. But the government can do a lot more. I think beyond the incentives that they are giving in terms of tax incentive and bulk infrastructure, I think the government needs to do a little bit more to incentivize the private sector to consider affordable housing. And that also goes all the way into issues like the cost of construction. How can we work on that to make sure that still is not so prohibitive that even when you want to take this cost lower, you are not able to because of the cost of construction. So the government has done a bit in terms of bulk infrastructure, in terms of the tax incentives, accessibility on finance, through Boma Yangu and all that. But there is still a lot more the government can do to bridge the gap.
Pretty much.
So the onus is on the government to do a lot more to make the impact felt in the entire industry.
All right. Now, let me bring in Juma then to also weigh in on that as we close. Juma, in just 45 seconds, if you may, the initiative for the affordable housing agenda under the Big Four. Juma, anything that you feel or you haven't felt it yet, as critics will say, of that particular pillar?
The affordable housing was a good project that was in the Big Four agenda. The question whether it has been achieved or it's yet to be achieved is it's an open discussion to the Kenyan, actually to the developers, to the people in the real estate industry, and even to the Kenyans as a whole. But now we need to do a lot, private sector and the government, so that we can be able to bring the affordable houses to the Kenyan society. But again, there's also the policies. We need to bring favorable policies that will be able to make us move in the industry. Like when the private sectors are going for the finance, loans, and all those sorts of things, and the policies are not favoring them in terms of tax and all that, they will not be able to do much and subsidize the government in terms of those projects.
Yes.
My colleague have talked of the constructions, development, all those expenses are too high for even to the private developers to take over the project. But you see now, the government must work hand in hand with the private developers to achieve the dreams, the project, which is the dream of Kenyans, the affordable housing. So that we need to see that happening. 50 units are not enough in a year. We need to see like 70, 80, 100, if possible. But that still, we want to see the next coming government where they'll pick, because now it's remaining 8 months for the end of this government in power. So we don't know, but we expect the next coming government will take over and make sure that dream is achieved.
Pretty much. All right. Now, from the entire Metropole television family, this morning we were speaking to Peter Wairegi, Chairman, Kenya Professional Realtors Association, FEOTNO, real estate analyst, Esa Karegi, licensed and practicing real estate agent and the head of agency Leisa Property. Also speaking to Gabriel Mwendro, investment associate. Stephen Juma, who's a research and a deal origination analyst at Superior Homes Kenya. We would like to say thank you very much for making time to close the year with us here at Metropole Television. Now, from the entire family, we say Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2022. Hope to see you in a 2022 when all the optimism that you've expressed in the real estate sector is actually coming to fruition. See you next year.